what if Chichi died giving birth to Gohan and Goten, and Goku has legendary Super Saiyan. And those are his kids. Kind of their inheritance. But, yeah. So, I already made this, but the audio got messed up, so I'm redoing it. This version, it happens when Chichi gives birth to her two sons, and I'm going to add this in, a daughter. And you might be thinking, why are you adding a daughter in? Just because. Watch. Okay, so this is what she's going to look like. She has long hair, just because. That's the only reason, just because. Okay, so yeah, I'm back. I do not own the art. I just looked it up on Google, so yeah. So this is actually what they're going to look like, minus the daughter, because it's different. Hold on a sec. This is what they look like in their geese. That's just what I'm going to use for the daughter right there. Go 10 on the side and go 1 in the middle. Gohan is the oldest, Goten is the middle one, and then, I'm not even sure what her name should be, but I'm going to say it was Chichi, or something along the lines. Make one up in the comments down below for it, I'm not really sure, but I'm not really easy finding this stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna stick with this picture, so, yeah. 3. Now, she has less of a want to. She still likes to fight like Saiyan, like a regular Saiyan would, because she kind of took that from her father. But more like her mother, she doesn't like being too close, because like we saw in Dragon Ball how Chi-Chi didn't even get anywhere near people when they fought. She would use that whole head thing, and so for the first, I don't know, 3 years of their life, Goku was raising them on the lookout, training the boys in martial arts and her in ki control. Now, the boys know ki control too, but one major thing is that Goku, he's more powerful than Ken. Instead of just having around a 300 power level, it's closer to around 400 before anything happens, because Chi-Chi not only wasn't nagging him, but he has children to protect, as he sees that to be it. Now, Gohan's power level is around 100. Goten's is around 90, and she drew the short straw with power level of 80. She's the weakest one, but Gohan and Goten, they're actually more butting heads with power, because yeah, Gohan has more strength, but Goten is more along the lines of using so much strength against them. I'm not really sure if that even would work. Their power levels would be like trying to block a cannon with a cannon. That's basically it. Now, she's probably the most. She has the whole Gigi thing of getting them all to calm down fast. But she's only 3 at this point, so she doesn't quite have that power yet. But they actually are on Kami's lookout the most, and the hyperbolic time chambers where they spent, so they only seem to be 3 days old, and they've lived for 3 years. So, yeah. You could them in there for 2 more years, to where 2 more days, so it's like 2 more years, so Kami's asking why he's having a super grow like that. Goku just said, because I need them to get stronger a little bit faster. I know it's weird, but yeah. As they train with him all the time, at the age of 5, they're already power level around 400. And now, Gohan still leads, sorry about that, with the strongest power level, in the upper 400s, like 490. Gohan is like the mid-range. He's the same power level, 490. Those two just got the same power level, while she has a slightly weaker power level. Some other guys. But she's more focused on ki, so she just launches more ki attacks while rarely getting into a fight. But she's far from defenseless once you get close to her. When you get closer, you could say that's more dangerous, because she's mastered all of the turtle schools. Sorry about the guys. Now, the humans, they actually had an idea. they wondered about the tails, and they actually went and asked Shinran, the dragon, Shinran, about it. And Shinran said, Goku is a Saiyan. That is from another planet, and says the whole story, and I'm not going over that. But once Shinron is done with that, she's saying, these three are half-breeds, though they lean more to the Saiyan powers, but they're still quite strong. As Goku said, it makes sense, but at this point, they already have power levels that are far superior to where Goku was in canon, and at this point they look like they're 7. Which Goku, his power level is around 1,020. That's all. He can only take 2v1. If they weren't a 3v1, he could not handle them. Well, he could use his martial arts techniques to where he was superior. Sorry, the guys. With Blast, he taught his daughter the Kamehameha, Dodinpa, and a couple other blasts, but they're very important. Now, one he refuses to teach her is the Tri-Beam, because I'm going to say he could use the Tri-Beam, he just doesn't. Now, the other Z-Warriors are helping him raise them, but 1 year passed after and they go through the Dragon Balls again. Now, what they do this time is they take the Dragon Balls and ask if the 3 of them could turn into Saiyans. Now, at first Shenron was actually more confused, but he still did the wish. He turned Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha into Saiyans. Now, Roshi, they asked why Roshi didn't choose that. It's because Roshi had a different wish. And for Roshi, it was getting youth and becoming a Saiyan. They turned him into a Saiyan as well and gave him his youth back, but that didn't change much as he was still very powerful. He just, sorry about that guys, wasn't very old. Now, by far, I think the strongest one is going to be Krillin. While Tien would usually be stronger, Krillin is stronger in this version for one thing. He's more of a, far-range fighter, but he can still throw hands. I got an... You know what, guys? Never mind putting a name in the comments or anything. You still could, but right now, for me, calling her name is going to be Go-Chi. Taking something from Goku and taking something from Chi-Chi. So, this is going to be Go-Chi. That's the only big difference. So, by far, I think Goku's good. Goku notices that Goku notices that Gohan's probably the most agile of them for power. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, dudes, I'm back. Just had to take care of something. So, by far, Goku seems to be the strongest one at the moment, but they're all training, trying to become as strong, or not, if not stronger than Goku. Now, Tien and Yamcha notice that they're able to catch up pretty quick as a 3v3, as a 1v1v1, but remember, Goku's always training with his kids, so that makes it where he's keeping up, and Roshi's always training with us, so it makes sense. Now, Roshi can still use that buffer transformation, but it feels kind of different when he's a Saiyan, but he asked Goku if he could use it. He has trouble, but it winds up being less of a buff transformation, as it's more of like harnessing the power of the ape for a second into his body. So he says, yeah, yes, feels the same as when I go into that giant monkey state. As he wound up getting them their tails. They didn't have their tails cut off, so hidden under their geese, they always have their tails. Now, they still can turn into the whole great apes, but in this version, when they turn into great apes, there's Piccolo, who's already turned good at this point because he notices that Goku could blow up the entire planet with him on it, or just blow him up with no effort. So he winds up joining them, and this is when you have Raditz coming, and to be honest, Raditz alone would be a joke, so Tarble is there as well. Tarble power level of 1,500, and Raditz is a power level of 1,000. Goku is a power level at this point of 2,200, and the kids have a power level around, I'll say 7,000, not 7,000, 700. Each of them, so their power levels are similar, as in, I'm taking multiple points, so strength-wise, ki-wise, and durability-wise. That's the three main aspects of it. Now, Gohan, easily the strong, easily the most active and able to wreck things, but he's also the smartest. I mean, Gohan's not really the most, wrecking of things, but, he's the one who puts in a lot of effort for what he gets. Goten is probably the physically most powerful, so Gohan's the most durable and smartest. Goten is the most outgoing and strongest, and Gochi is the most has the most ki, and is also, well, the best looking, honestly. I mean, don't get me wrong, these two dudes look great, but she just looks better than them for some reason. Hold on a sec. Let's go back to this picture because I just think it involves Goku a lot more now. I'm not gonna say that she won't be very useful in the fights, but she is seen to be the weakest one, even compared to the humans, as their power levels are slightly above the children, which by far they have the upper hand, honestly. Well, the adults do, at least. Now they are Saiyans too, so mind you, they're not weak. They did the same training that Goku did. Now, I'm going to say Goku has an older sister. That's right, I'm involving two more female characters with a power level of 1,000. And Raditz is slightly stronger than his little sister, as she's only 1 year younger than him, but by far he's the stronger one. Goku is around 5 years younger than both of them. Well, 5 years younger than Raditz, 4 years younger than her. But anyway, her power level is 1,000, Raditz's is 1,250, and Tarbell's is 1,500. So that's the big difference. And in this version, instead of just sending one of them, because they figured that they'd only need one to get Goku, but they thought, Saiyans tend to be stronger than regular, and we put him on a planet alone. Even if it was full of weaklings, he may have had some trouble. What are you saying? Weren't there a couple power levels that were around 400 and all that? Yes, but they were long gone. They should have been gone by now. True, but I think there is a chance there were stronger beings there than we know. Sure, the regular power level was 5, but Saiyans tend to draw on. If you destroy the entire thing, you have to destroy everything. And there was a couple beings there that had enough strength to probably end a regular Saiyan. What are you talking about? I mean, if he's actually able to come to planets, he may have a power level far superior to ours. It shows that the planet is still full of life. There's a good chance he's not even done anything, or he's dead. Which is what Vegeta and Nappa said. But you hear Raditz saying, no, I can tell he has the Saiyan power level. When we look at it, it says the number and the race. Now, his race, Saiyan, and his power level is good, but there seem to be two. But remember, Raditz is the least kind out of the three siblings, but Goku's the nicest, and she's kind of she's got somewhat nice, she's nice, but she's more of a cutthroat kind of Saiyan as well. So they said send us there, but you hear there's power levels that could also be Saiyan. To be correct, there is 6 Saiyans. 7 Saiyan on that planet. Did you hear what? 7? There's not even 7 of us here. As they wound up saying, you 3 go. Okay. As they sent Goku. As they sent Goku's sister, Raditz. I'm not even sure what her name would be, by the way. I'm gonna go with Geendok for no reason. Just because that's the name of their parents put together. So, Geendok. So you have Geendok, Raditz, and Tarble all flying to Earth. And there is one being known as Turles, who they know is a Saiyan, but they found him. They've actually tracked down Turles. If you're wondering who Turles is, he's from a special that was non-canon, and both Broly's are canon. Goku has the power of both of them, by far. Now, I'm not going to say Goku's the strongest of them, by far he's not, but he's never tapped into the anger, which he will tap into when they arrive. So, like Gine, there's versions of Gine whenever she met Goku, whenever these two land, instead of Raditz taking the lead, now Raditz is kind of like the oldest one there, so he's actually said, I'll take the lead. When Tarble says, but I'm the strongest, as Raditz said, and I'm the one related to him, I should be able to take him on. Now you have Goku sensing power levels, wondering who these 3 monsters of strength seem to be. Now his power level noticing to be above them all, actually, with a power level around 2,000, he says. Actually, at this point, I think he'd have a power level around 3,000. So I'm going to say it's 3,400. Nah, 3,500, just because. He trains with all of them all the time, so his power level is 3,700. As when they land, they feel a crazy. They track down a crazy power level. As Piccolo even trains with them on the lookout. Now they say there's a crazy power level here. We might have to go with Zara just to take it on. But we have no guarantee that it isn't just Kakarot. As they say this, as Goku feels 3. Well, he thinks they're intense for not. Well, he doesn't feel crazy intense that they're there. He more feels that they're strong enough to do some damage. So he thinks he's the only one who can really take them. Now, the others have power levels around that area of 1,000 to 1,000 to 190. To 1,900, that's their power levels, but like, they're all being dwarfed by Goku, and honestly, I'm not going to give them that much power. The humans have power levels around 1,000. That's all. The children have power levels around 800. That's all. They all have their tails. So, they all sense the power level saying, even the weakest one there is, like, equivalent to us. The kids couldn't even take on the weakest one. That's no big deal. As you hear, kids, we'll be back. Not even saying kids will be back. They're all at Kami's lookout. They're all at Kame House. With Roshi at a younger body, which is actually an 8th Saiyan. I keep forgetting Roshi became a Saiyan. And his power level is 1,250. So he's equivalent to Raditz. So you feel, no way. He would, whatever. Let's go. We'll find. If he is really this strong, he should be able to take over the planet. So much more power levels. They're small, but who knows what they're from. Could it have been, as you hear Geendok saying, could it have been the animals? I mean, there's a good chance he might have liked the animals and wanted food. What with the higher power levels? The ones that are around ours. Well, y'all said they were other Saiyans, right? Makes sense. They all land and just fly over to Goku at the strongest power level. Goku sees them and he asks the simple little question, what are you doing on my planet? And who are you? As they introduce them, as
Raditz and as Gindock and Raditz introduced themselves as Goku's siblings. Goku saying, "What?" Now he already knew he was a Saiyan and all that, and that he had siblings, but
he said, "Y'all are my siblings. You're so weak." Them feeling really, them noticing their younger brother just called them weak were really mad, but they didn't see Goku's tail, so they thought, we'll show him the Ozaru transformation, that'll scare him into shape. All of them are hiding their tails underneath their clothes, really, so they make this artificial moon just to scare Goku. Now Goku starts laughing as he looks up at it, and he just becomes big. Like, people being in their monkey transformations, and him being in his, like, oh wow. And everyone else looks at it, and Goku's been practicing with it, and he's gotten to where they can control it somewhat well. Now, sorry about that, guys. They've been trying to get Bulma to be able to make a thing that could work with that. Hold on a second, guys.
okay, I'm back.
Just gonna take care of something. So, yeah,
Goku, while he still does not,
well, he notices that while they're all going their grade transformation, Goku seems to have the strongest still, which they notice wouldn't really change at 10 times multiplier. And sorry about that, guys. Roshi goes into his grade 8 transformation, and they notice that it still has the whole white. It still has the whole. Actually, never mind. It doesn't. I was thinking about if old Roshi had turned, but I remember he's young, so they all turn into their grade 8 transformations, and Raditz notices that there are so many more grade 8s than he was expecting. As altogether, their power levels basically could shatter everyone's there, but Goku's been practicing, and everyone else has too, with the grade 8 transformation. Now, by far, I think Goku would have actually not quite mastered it, but gotten about as good as, like, he's gotten as good as, like, Bardock had. But not really crazily into using grade 8. But he still uses it if need be, but Piccolo was there, and he knows, and Piccolo's just sitting there, waiting to show his power. As they saw that there was a Namekian there with a power level that was actually around 2,000. It was 2,500, but still very impressive. Quite impressive, as it was half as much as Nappa. Now, they by far are more powerful than anyone else there. And when they already beat the Namekian's power, one that they called the Namekian, he's already stronger than everyone else. Now, Goku tells the kids to detrans. Now they wonder how to detransform. Now, Piccolo straight just uses a special beam cannon. Instead of just aiming for the Saiyan's tails, he straight just blows up the artificial moon. We all know he can blow up the regular moon, so the artificial one wouldn't be a problem. So when he blows it up, they all just hit the ground. Now, he straight up just yells clothes beam and just blasts all the Z Warriors with clothes beams, since, their clothes would get destroyed when they use the transformation.
So he winds up whenever they all collapse on the ground, they haven't really taken much damage. I mean, everyone else they were all kind of going a little berserk, but we're aiming not quite berserk, more like just going on a rampage, but they were all aiming directly at the Saiyans. The Saiyans that were called the bad team at the moment, so yeah. When they all got down, they all kind of grabbed a senzu bean and ate it, while the other three were kind of really beat up. Still stood up and go to attack. 3v1, Goku just looks at them, stopping all of them with one hand. His power level increased to where it was around 4,000 after he took a little bit of damage and got back up.
When he got down to the 8
transformation was done, so he said, "You can't beat me. You could never hope to do anything unless you've trained. And y'all don't look like y'all trained a day in y'all's lives." And Raditz actually notices just how serious Goku is at this point, as every swing he takes doesn't do anything. And he just collapsed. Raditz was the last one standing. While he wasn't the strongest, he was the most willing to die for his cause. Now, they were trying to get Goku to join them, but Goku wound up saying no, and hit the plant. And when they all hit the ground, they found themselves in what they call a hut. Goku already had a couple rooms extra added on to the original house of Son Gohan, the person who found him and raised him. Goku got everything and wound up making more pieces to the house. At one point, he said, maybe a couple extra. And he had a couple guest bedrooms, as he would call them, but now it's basically just a big house that he made. And without a doubt, Goku probably is, like, unstoppable compared to anyone else there. And when they all wake up, completely covered in injuries, they look at Goku saying, "You didn't kill us?" As he said, "No. You're lucky, though. If I had, if I wanted to, it wouldn't have been hard. Heck, the kids could do it if they wanted to." Saying, "Oh, right, you're children. Yes. Our sense Saiyan powers, but what are they?" As Goku says, half-breeds. Half Saiyan, half human. Wow. As Rats bluntly said this, where's their mother? As Goku said, she's dead. Which Rat is saying, my apologies. He says, no, it's alright. So, y'all feeling hungry? Which Goku has to feed 4 Saiyans, including himself, all the time, so these 3 extra wouldn't make much of a difference. He just goes out, grabs like 7 fish that were bigger than he was, started frying them up. Hunts a couple giant animals and grabs those. When he's done, he actually has an entire, he has an outside thing that's, it's the equivalent of a giant, it's kind of like a giant outside eating thing for them, so, yeah, he has to have that because, well, all of them eat a table or 2 worth on a regular day, on a regular meal, so he has to make a lot. And he has to have a lot of places to put it. Now, as they all catch up, as he talks to them about the years, and they asked where their armor was, which, because they were just completely confused on what they were wearing and where their armor was, Goku said, it's laid out right here. Interesting, it can stretch to the Great Ape transformation. Yes, it's called the Ozaru. I already know, I just call it the Great Ape. It's easier to say. Okay, whatever. So, I heard something on your scouters. And they asked, as you hear, what was it? It said, Dear Raditz, Charba, and Gindoc. You have 2 choices. You can either bring them here, or we'll be there in 1 year. As it seems that you failed, we'll be there in 1 year. As you hear, wait, what? Yes, someone by the name of Nappa and Vegeta will be here in 1 year. At least that's what they said. So tell me, are they strong? As you hear, great, so powers we could never even hope to keep up with. We have to 3v1. We can go 3 versus 1 against Nappa, and it still wouldn't do anything. And if Nappa helped us, we could go 4v1 against Vegeta, and it still wouldn't even amount to a hair to him. So what happens if y'all win y'all's Great Ape transformations? Well, none of us would be strong enough to take on his base form, even in our Great Ape transformations. So if all of y'all went in, it'd be easily done, but we too big and clunky, he could easily take us down. So in other words, you found the glaring weakness in y'all's Great Apes. Yeah. Well, don't worry. we'll get over that whole thing. Which Goku starts, as he said, as he gave them all a sensu bean, saying, "Come on, let's go. We're gonna need to train at Kami's lookout." They ask, "Who's Kami?" He says, "God." "What? You know God?" "Yes." "Let's go." As Goku says, "Y'all can fly, right?" They said, "Yes." "Why?" "'Cause y'all need those 3 really weird round shit. Y'all need those 3 pods to get here, right?" "So how can... if you can fly, why do you need those 3 pods?" As they said, "Well, it just wastes less energy going in the pods." "Makes sense." "So, how long was the trip y'all took?" They said, 1 year. "Y'all traveled 1 year just to get me?" "Yep." I should feel honored. Kinda do. Anyway, it's time, as he said, Raditz, Gindock. It's time y'all met met y'all's nieces, y'all niece and nephews. "Oh yes, your children. Let us meet them." As they walk in, saying, "Uncle and Auntie," or something like that, and without a doubt, Goku says, "We have to go train. Let's go, kids." Saying, "Grab the Nimbus and let's go." Which, I'm gonna say that Gohan and Goten can fly, but, Gochi has a lot more trouble flying, so she winds up always using the Nimbus. You hear, "Okay," and they all get ready and they start flying. No, but without a doubt, Goku is flying the fastest, but he's slowing himself down for everyone to keep up. As he said, "You know what? Why don't we have a little race? If y'all can beat me there." As he gave them the coordinates to it,
And they said, if y'all can beat me there, you get whatever you want. You can get one wish from me. Okay. As they all raced at top speed, the kids actually wind up using their full speed as well. Gosher just blitzed forward with full speed and lands on the lookout before anyone else gets there, and the entirety of the Z-Warriors left before him. They said, we'll meet you there, and he sort of just gets there first. When he lands, he starts training in martial arts,
and asked
Mr. Popo if he would help him. Mr. Popo was fine with helping, so yeah. Mr. Popo was getting him to fight Saiyans, and when the others arrived, Goku got out of the whole black hole thing. Mr. Popo said, "So, you all came here to train?" As you hear, yes, we did. Okay, first rule. Listen to Mr. Popo. Second rule, pecking order.
Nah, that's just a joke. But he still said pecking order, so. Now, there's one
I've seen where it says you, the dirt, the ones inside the dirt, call me. No, it was something else. Something, call me, Mr. Popo. In this version, it was something, call me, Goku, Mr. Popo. As Mr. Popo said, as Goku said, "Oh really, Mr. Popo?" Mr. Popo as Goku throws a punch at Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo caught it. Still getting launched sent flying. As a 1v1 happened, but Mr. Popo is a lot weaker, but he has the whole magic thing. So he should just make the whole magic black hole for him to fight Saiyans.
He said to Goku, "You have 1,000 Saiyans you're fighting. When you're done, tell me." After he beats the first 100 or 200, he's done
collapses, saying, "Oh come on,
that was 1,000. How do you expect
anyone to beat that?" Pecking order. As he said,
really?
as he yeeted him inside this room of spirit and time and closed the door and sealed it up. So after one day, Mr. Popo walks out saying, "You thought that was funny, didn't you?" As Goku says, "Yes." Kamehame. Black hole. 1,000 Saiyans to fight. Goku not caring, as he was a lot stronger now. He actually makes
To 300?
and then he is done. And he hits the floor.
I'm thinking, how's Goku
Goku will take on that much. Well, regular Saiyans, Goku's stronger than. And it allowed him to be in
any form he wanted?
so
He was in
he saw the moon, but the others didn't. So the whole time he was fighting 1,000 Saiyans, 1v1s for 1,000 in grade 8. And they weren't going for his tail, they were going for direct attack. So he just kept throwing punch and attack and all that.
Now,
That's all for jokes, though. So Goku. Well, I'm saying, okay, the others are gonna be here and now. As the human slash Saiyan things were, as the Z Warriors arrived, even Piccolo with them, saying, okay, now, Mr. Popo, you will be in charge of their training. As you hear them saying, really? Mr. Popo is training us? Didn't think we'd ever get trained by him. Okay.
no.
As Popo says, Goku, your training will be sparring with, please don't say 1,000 Saiyans, 500 Saiyans. Oh, come on, man. As he just continued before going back in there. Saying, okay. And y'all's training 100 Saiyans each. Then people started laughing and they all got sent to fighting their numbers. And they're saying, for you children, 3 Saiyans all together.
Okay. As
They all just went down.
as they went in their fighting thing, and it was 1v3, so it was them 3 versus 1 Saiyan. Regular Saiyan power.
Goku at this point was done fighting his crazy amount of Saiyans and he just finished up. And his power level started to be 8,000. So he's already stronger than Nappa. He's almost half the strength of Vegeta.
We can win.
And saying, but that was 500. How many did you actually defeat? Or, in other words, kill? As you hear Goku say these words, 490. The kid saying, we've been finished with ours. How many Saiyans did y'all have to defeat? 3 each? Or all together? All together? Really, Mr. Popo? You had me fighting like clones of myself when I was their age. True, but still. As they trained like this, and eventually Goku was able to take
1,000.
Saiyans in 1v1s. I was able to actually make 999. 999. But then when he was done with that, he said, okay, Aegis seems to be saying, I'll go back one more time. Okay, until you've finished, you cannot stop. And
Everyone else had said they'd only
only taken down 99 Saiyans at that point, so
when they were all done.
after this round, they had all eaten senzu beans and just gotten back up, saying, okay, so we've all done the proper training.
Okay. How long
Have
have
you been at this, Mr. Popo? As you hear,
you've been at it for 2 months?
what, only 2 months? Goku's power level is 17,000. Everyone else's power level are all around
Equal with
7,000. And then you hear the children's power level. They're around 6,000. As you hear the adults saying, what? We trained our whole lives. We fought our whole lives to get power levels around 1,000. They're children, and they already have power levels so much stronger. True, but you haven't even trained. You have more time, Jamba. I saw Goku in there for 2 months. And when he walked out, and it almost killed him. What? 2 months in there? Was enough to almost kill him? Yes.
the way it works is that 1 year
Outside. One day
outside.
is 1 year in there. So, in other words, we have a lot of time, right? Well, considering only 2
People can go.
only
7 people can go in there. Really, as many people as you want.
one can go in there at a time, but the effects are a lot weaker if there's more than 7. As in, it goes from having a power level of having gravity of 10 to gravity around 5.
So we're gonna have half the training power and the same and a lot more time? Yes, but not training. But it's usually room for meditation. As you hear, enough, Popo. As Kami said this to Popo. Popo saying, yes, Kami. Because, well, Popo was stronger than Kami. Popo did respect Kami's rank above him. So, which, more than not, Popo was just let to do his own thing.
Now, Kami was by far more knowledgeable, so he said, come on, let us train one more
Time with the Popo dimension. As Popo said, what? One more? Yes. But this time, you will all together be fighting against 2 Saiyans. Okay. How is that even a challenge? We've been taking on hundreds of them. 1,000 for Goku. Yes, you all have had 500 down already. Even the kids have. But we haven't had to fight with people on their level. We've been pinning you up against Saiyans y'all's strength. And having the whole number thing to have it where you have that many to fight. One after the other. You have 2 seconds cooldown every time. And when you would have died, you get pulled out of the dimension, out of it. And then you walk out. Your power levels have greatly increased, true, but you're not strong enough to defeat Goku. As Goku saying, they need to be able to defeat me? Well, yes. The stronger one has a power level of 18,000, correct? Yes. And Goku, your power level is 17,000, correct? Yes. Okay, one more time, and their number to fight is 200. What, that's all? Yes, instead of just fighting you 2, we'll have you do that afterwards. 200 with a power level of 10,000. What? Yes, we've been sending you in power levels with 1,000. You sneaky old man. As they all got dropped together saying, what? At once. So 200 v... Hold on a second, guys. Let's see, there's how many Z Warriors? Okay, so it's 300 versus... So it's 200 versus 12. But, thing is, you've been wearing your weighted gear. Even Piccolo's been wearing weighted gear and giving you extras every time. This time, you will take off your weighted gear. As all their weighted gear came off, they noticed their power levels were actually around 17. Went from 17. Goku went from 17,000 to 20,000. The others went from power levels around 7,000 to around 10,000. And the kids went from power levels around 6,000 to around 8,000. As they all wound up fighting for that, as they said, and it's for us, we've been going 1v1. For him, he's going 2 to 3v1. After about 3 days, they're finished and walk and get out of the whole thing. And the one who finished the final one was Goku. As they each had a number for how much of each one of them took down. For Raditz, it was 4. It was around 10. Everyone was around 10. The kids were around 5, and Goku took the rest. So, yeah. Goku said, okay, so y'all are double the strength of the weaker one, and the stronger one is equivalent to my strength with weighted gear on, right? Yep. So, would y'all like to start wearing weighted gear? Yes, but we should probably start wearing Saiyan gear. Why? Well, we have to train in the Great Ape, because I can guarantee when they feel overwhelmed and don't see the tails, they'll go into Great Ape. Okay. As they all got the Saiyan gear, this one saying, reminding me of our fathers, saying, you should wear this one. Wearing one reminding us of our father. Okay. As Gohan, which at this point, he's been training they've been training in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber too at this point after the year. Looks like this. And so Gohan and Goten look like this. Not quite, but they were wearing this armor. And yeah, we'll be going over the Saiyan fight in the next part.